ESPN continues to embarrass and destroy itself. How far the mighty have fallen. The worldwide leader in sports headed straight to the basement, and it continues to prove why. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all your support. Do me a quick favor, smash the like button before you forget. Subscribe, comment down below, and let's dig into this. So we have once again ESPN because they have nothing better to talk about, talking about Jalen Hurts and absolutely flat out lying to all of us. Right? Let's dig into this. This is Lewis Reddick on Get
What
Up.
I find interesting is this, though. It's like, okay, so, and I had somebody approach me about this just this past weekend. It's like, I'm not making this up about
Right.
Jalen Hurts.
Right.
I didn't sit here and go, hey, you know what? I just want to sit here and I want to rip Jalen Hurts today. I just kind of want to sit here and like kind of bang on him and just see if that gets any traction. People in his own building are the ones who kind of start this talk, right? So
Really? Now they don't have the I couldn't find a clip of her saying anything because her face is like, "Ooh, are we sure about that?" She might not have been allowed to say anything. We know how that goes. But all we again, stating an anonymous source as if it is 100% proven fact. They're doing this over and over again. This is how this BS nonsense starts. This is how narratives surrounding AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts start. Is they go, "Oh, anonymous sources said this," when they actually have something they want to talk about. It is their opinion, and then they use it like this. "Oh, well, it's not us. We're talking about it 24/7, even though there are a lot of other bigger stories out there than Jalen Hurts in the off season. But we get to keep saying, oh, it's not us, it's them in the building." Of course, you've never given any proof whatsoever, not one bit of proof that anyone in the building is saying these things. Nothing.
if there are some legitimate, let's just say, if there is some legitimate friction inside the building, whether it be between the player and coaches, players and players, whether or not they feel as though that he's holding back the offense, that it could be even better if there were certain things that maybe he was more, open to as far as offensive scheme, how they deploy people, how they deploy players, maybe being a little bit more like, let's just say, open to having a more diverse playbook.
Once again, this is what I'm talking about. This is embarrassing. I miss ESPN back in the day when you had, guys like Chris Berman on a lot. You had Stuart Scott, where you had real reporters covering sports, passionate about sports. This is an embarrassment for Lewis Reddick. How do you not get yourself prepared? Again, same crap over and over again. Here he is spouting all these negatives about Jalen Hurts that not only have come from anonymous sources, but that we have debunked over and over again. How is it possible, Lewis Reddick? Why are you on the show? How did you get hired? When you don't do anything, you don't know anything. This is lazy, my man. It is on video multiple times. Jalen Hurts is perfectly fine under center, has no problem with it, actually likes it. That is a Nick Sirianni thing, the shotgun. Been debunked over and over again. The diverse playbook crap, debunked over and over again. I mean, who was it? Steve Mariucci when he did that thing with the chalkboard and running plays and everything. Jalen Hurts would love to run more things than Kevin Patullo's first grade on the playground playbook where they design the plays in the dirt. Run down to the light post and turn around. Head to the second car and break right. Actually, that's better than what Kevin Patullo puts together for the Philadelphia Eagles. Nothing you just said is true, and it's actually been proven to be false. Again, there are multiple examples, but the most obvious everyone knows is Jalen Hurts saying they took the straight jacket off me in the second half. Does that sound like a quarterback who wants a limited playbook? Come on, man. Be better or get off the show. Retire, quit, resign, whatever it is, but you don't belong here if this is what you do. Just repeat anonymous sources, despite the fact that the evidence is there that contradicts your nonsense. Oh, I got to tell you, it's exhausting being a Birds fan sometimes.
That's not us making that stuff up.
It's exactly you. You just made it up.
That's people kind of like spilling this kind of stuff and talking about it. Now, let me just move forward and say this.
One thing before you do move forward. Again, you're reiterating anonymous sources, and then you're also talking about stuff that's already been debunked by Jalen Hurts himself, but you choose to be ignoring Jalen Hurts himself for some reason to parrot the narrative that all of that is true.
Do I think they need to like draft his successor? No, I don't. But this is a football team, and GMs are charged with trying to see problems down the road that don't necessarily exist in the present. Look, they drafted him when they had a franchise quarterback in the fold already. So could they still be looking at drafting someone and saying, hey, look, we're going to draft a young developmental player. We may not need him right now, but let's just see. The expectation is not for him to come in here and replace Jalen Hurts, but we need to have a succession plan or have a quality backup, a quality quarterback room. Those are the kind of things that could happen here. But I don't think the media made this up
No.
about what's going on with him. This is something that's happened in their own locker room. We're just talking about it.
So
Wow. Okay, so back to that. Let's go to the draft. Weak draft for quarterbacks. Weak draft for quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts was drafted what, late second round. We already had questions and issues with Carson Wentz. Uh, a good quarterback room. Do we not? I'm confused. Did I miss something? Do we not have Tanner McKee and Andy Dalton? Tanner McKee, the one everyone says is the second coming, and I actually like Tanner McKee. I realize that he'll probably eventually go because someone's going to give him a chance to start. Although, after Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni tried to make a point by having Tanner McKee throw 40 times in a game when he did start and he looked awful. And by the way, I'm going to put a lot of that on again, the playbook. That was for Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni. That was a statement game. They wanted to make Tanner McKee. They wanted Tanner to throw for 350, 400 yards that game, and it absolutely backfired on them. But the point is, again, Tanner McKee is a young dude. Isn't he why do you need to draft? Does anyone even remember who Carson Wentz's backup was when Jalen Hurts was drafted? Why do we need to draft a quarterback in a bad quarterback draft when Tanner McKee is in the quarterback room? And as far as a total quarterback room, also veteran Andy Dalton in the quarterback room. So, yes, Lewis, you actually are just saying this stuff because, again, you have nobody on record that this is coming from the Eagles locker room. And I want to finish up with this, and this is why I was trashing ESPN too. You have Puka, right? Alcoholic. Dude's going in rehab, I think. Again, nothing. Blackout from ESPN. Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini, biggest story in sports right now. Not a peep from ESPN. I believe Cowboys and Pickens, right? They're having a showdown with a contract extension for Pickens. Nothing, not a peep from ESPN. How about the Ravens sabotaging their own trade? Not a peep from ESPN. I believe there was actually something else that I can't think of now off the top of my head where someone was in a lot of trouble as well. But yeah, this is the problem with sports media, man. This is why y'all starting to get crushed by independent reporters and YouTubers and guys and girls doing podcasts on Spotify and all that because you are terrible at your jobs. You don't do your jobs. You try to shape narratives. You talk about anything but what truly matters in sports. Can we talk about sports? Let me know in the comments below what y'all think about this. Should Lewis Reddick be embarrassed? I'm kind of embarrassed for him secondhand. But anyway, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe. I truly do appreciate it. Yeah, we're closing in on 1,700 subscribers. Absolutely wild. I will talk to you later.